Alright. Here's the goal box. Everything's labeled and color-coded on the side. Power is going to be power in. 12 volt out is what's going to power the lasers. Or you can also use it to mess with the LEDs. If you plug the LEDs into it, it'll give the. I'll show you what I'm talking about later. I'll give that power. LEDs and then laser or sensor. In theory too, it looks like you guys just use a it's like a little limit switch for your goal sensor. If you connect your wires to a barrel connector, male barrel DC barrel connector, that should be able to trigger this box too. You don't necessarily need to use the lasers. You could probably set it up so that this box works with your old triggering mechanism. It's got a little carabiner clip on it so that if it comes unclipped, it doesn't pop open. You got your screwdriver right here on the inside. This right here is your volume control. This little blue box. I crank it and then I come back like a quarter turn. Maybe not a quarter, maybe like an eighth turn. So that you don't blow the speaker. If it sounds too quiet on the court, go ahead and crank it. But you should be fine. It should be loud enough right there. I don't like to keep it cranked because of how loud it is. Remote for the LEDs. A little pouch here inside the box. I'll get into LEDs a little bit more here shortly. Yeah. So right now the way it's set up is when the goal's triggered, it'll play the full audio cue of whatever horn there is, and then the LEDs will go for 3 seconds. So even if it's a short horn blast, the LEDs are still going to light up for 3 seconds. If you guys want to change that, let me know, and I'll show you how to mess with this. There's different ways you can make. You can make the times longer or shorter, or you can make it so that the lights just sync up with the sound, and once the sound stops. But some of the sounds are short, so I found the 3 seconds to be best. Yeah, that's inside of that. I'm gonna put the screwdriver back. This right here, this little micro USB slot, is so you can change the audio cues on here. All you need, it comes with a short USB to micro USB cable. I would recommend getting a longer one just to make it easier to, because you'll have to come out onto the court, open the box, and plug this into a laptop or something. So it'll just be easier with a longer cable. It just comes with this little shorty one, which isn't a problem if you have like the laptop right here, but yeah. So I'd recommend getting a longer USB to micro USB. Make sure it's a data cable so that it can transfer data. And then I'll show you how to transfer the audio files. It's very easy. So when you open the file on the computer, the file is just going to have nine files on it, and they're labeled 00001 through 00009. And that's all it is when you upload the new audio file. So say you want to get rid of the 9th file and replace it with something. So you would delete that file, copy over your new audio file, and then just rename that 00009, and that will be the 9th audio file. So that's how that works. So the dial. So I got 9 pre-programmed sounds in here. The top one is the Kraken goal horn. Second one's just a boat horn. Third is a boxing bell. 4 school bells. 5 the DJ horns is a bum bum bum. 6, awooga, like the old school horn, you know, awooga. 7's the Rocket League goal. It goes goal. It makes the Rocket League noise. 8 is the Taco bell dinging, and then 9 is the bell that the Undertaker would come out to. So, I know you said to leave 3 blank, but whether they're blank or not, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change how you upload the files. So I just put 9 on there, so you have the options. Right here's the dial. When you turn the dial, I recommend going one at a time. It's a dial I just bought off Amazon, so I don't want to go like that and break something. Sometimes when you turn it, it doesn't cue, so just kind of give the dial a little. It's really only on the second one that it does it. The rest of them are pretty good. There's a little play on the. I did my best to fix it. So I would just be cautious of the number 2. Typically when you turn it, and then I think you're turning it down. Also, when I plug it in, I'll show you. But also switching the dial will trigger the goals. So when you switch, you'll hear the sound go off, so you can hear what it is. But yeah, just be gentle with the dial. Don't sit there and crank it, just to help improve its lifespan. Try not to let people play with it too much. The more you play with it, the more likelihood something on it's going to break. That's also a troubleshooting point. If it seems like one of the sounds isn't working, one of the first things to troubleshoot is, I would say, try changing the dial, just to make sure it's not a connection on the dial. The dial's right there. So the power, or not the power, but one of the selector connector, I don't know how to phrase it, but one of the wires for the dial is just on a, it's on a, I don't know what to call that, a connector, and then the rest are wrapped around and kind of soldered on. But yeah, if one specific sound isn't working, it's because of this right here. So, yeah. Like I said, that right there is to control your volume. Screwdriver's right there, so you can adjust that. Let's see. Bottom of the box, on-off switch. I would just recommend at the end of the night turning them off. Granted, I mean, this is only going to be pulling voltage when a goal is really triggered, but it might help increase the lifespan of the lasers and the board on the inside. So O is off, line is on. Just remember O for off. All right, maybe I'll put a label on it before I pack it up. I'll probably do that. For mounting, it just got some worm clamps on it. You'll unscrew them. I might screw them further down for packaging. If I do, I'm sorry. So the way I would mount these are, so this one should be mounted to the right of the ref booth. And what you're going to do is you'll mount it on the pole, and then I would turn the speaker towards the ref booth. So what that's going to do is, where the wires all connect, that's going to put the box and the wall in between the wires, so that a ball can't hit the wires and knock a wire out. So I would have it if the pole is directly in front of me like this, I'm going to have it mounted like this to protect those wires, and then also the dial's right here, so it makes it easier for you to adjust. And then you should be able to I make it so that, turn it so that you can still open the box if you needed to do something to it. But yeah, I would just mount it like this. One, the speaker's going towards the ref booth so the ref can hear it easier. And two, the box and the wall will protect those wires from getting hit from balls. here's our power supply. It's just a 12 volt, 5 amp power supply that plugs into the wall. You might want to tape it to the wall so it doesn't become unplugged. I don't know how well your sticky your outlets are. And then at the end of the power supply, I have just a inline fuse connected to it, so that this has a built-in safety into it. This is just an extra feature. It's just a 5 amp fuse in here, so if there's a power surge or something, we're not going to fry anything in the box, because this is all low voltage 12 volt stuff. So it's just an extra safety feature. You might maybe I'll do it, or maybe I'll leave it up to you guys. But if it was me, I would probably electrical tape this together so this doesn't come unplugged. But yeah, this is just an extra safety feature. All right. So black. Either way, both ends of these are black. Power, black. Plug in the power. So right here's the on-off switch I was talking about. Now that it's plugged in, it lights up blue when it's on, off. So let's leave it on. All right, so here's the LEDs. I put the LEDs in rubber tubing to help protect them, so that if a ball hits it, it doesn't break a connector in there, and then you only got half the LEDs going. I haven't tested it out yet. I'm replacing all of our LEDs on our backboards to this. It should work. So the LEDs, everything's color coded on here. LED yellow, so wire yellow. So LED goes in there, and it goes here, and it's only going to go off when the goal goes off. I really don't want to trigger it. It's too loud. All right, I'm going to turn it down. Get in there, let me turn you down. All right. So trigger it with this. So it only goes off when it's triggered. But if you want to put it up there and you want to figure out what color or what mode you want to use, because it has hundreds of different modes you can use, and it gives you all the normal colors you can pick, like red, blue, green, white. So what you could do is just unplug at the box where it says LED. So normally the lasers would be in the 12 volts out. Plug it in there, and then the light's constantly getting 12 volts. And then you can grab the remote out of the box, and then it's got mode, plus, minus, speed, plus, minus, and then the normal color. So if you just want a solid color, just push the colors down here. Although the colors don't line up, because the R doesn't give you R, it gives you blue. But when you go solid color, if you mode it, you can move between all the basic colors. And if you're on a basic color and hit auto is going to give you that colorful one there, and then if you go through the modes, it's going to give you a bunch of different modes. So, like I said, and then you got speed. You can lower the speed at which it rotates. You can increase the speed at which it rotates. The one we use is just auto, which is just all the colors just constantly going. And then what you don't want to do is you don't want to power off the LED strip with the remote. You want to leave the power on, because it leaves the power on this. And what that does is when you disconnect power from it and reconnect the power, the LED strip automatically comes back on because it was left on. So that you need to leave that on. Otherwise, if it's off, when the goal goes off, it's not gonna, the LEDs aren't gonna light up because it's technically off. So let's plug this back in here. Where did I put that screwdriver? There it is. So that's the LEDs. All right, let's talk. Let me put the remote back where it goes. Let me put the screwdriver back where that goes. All right, let's talk lasers. So all these cords are kind of long. I talked to Jay about the height where the box should be mounted, and we want it somewhere where you can reach it, but also kind of out of the way of the ball. So he gave me dimensions for that. So I made them a little bit longer, so you can raise it or lower it however you please, and then just, you know, curl up the slack of it and zip tie it somewhere out of the way. So right here are the connectors for the lasers. They're idiot proof. One is 3-pin, one is 4-pin, and they have little slots, so you can only put them in one way. So this is the 4-pin. You put, so well, yeah, not myself. First things first, you want to mount the lasers. We're gonna mount them vertically on the outside. Well, try to do it on the outside of the supports of the backboard. These should be small enough where the beam will fit right in between the supports without hitting them. And then, let's see. I got little L brackets that connect to these. I will have these already on there. And then when you're mounting it, all the hardware is already connected to this to mount it to the backboard. It's a 1/4-inch bolt. So you'll need a 1/4-inch drill to drill the holes into the backboard where you want to mount these. And then there's a rubber spacer that goes in between the bracket and the backboard. And that's just to help absorb the vibration, so that stuff doesn't like move as much, you know, to help kind of the lifespan. It also keeps the lasers off the backboard a little bit. So I kind of have them in the order that you should mount them. You'll see the bolt will go through on the you know, the side you see of the backboard. I have a big like fender washer to go with it. Then in between, on the back side of the backboard, in between the backboard and this bracket, will be a rubber washer, and then there will be a nylon locking nut and a washer to attach it. So what I would do is I would make a center mark on each side, height-wise, vertically, and then kind of make a center mark on here and just line up those center marks. Just make sure the center of the goal lines up with the center of the backboard. So really figure out what the center of the goal is, and if that's not actually center of the backboard, use that as your center mark to line these up. So like I said, I would just measure, put a little center mark here, line that up, and then also, you don't have to, but if it's me, I'm putting a level on this and making sure this is plumb. These lasers have a pretty big span for being like cockeyed and stuff, but I would still plumb and level vertically behind it, and you can mount the cables up top or on the bottom. So that might just be personal preference for you guys, because I'll show you. Let me plug these in here. So this is the 3-pin. 3-pin goes right here. 3-pin goes to the sender. Four-pin goes to the receiver. And they just screw in like that. Very easy. I would mount it before you put the cables on, because the bolt like comes right up to it. So mount the lasers, then connect the cables. So those mount there, and then here's the connectors that go to the box for the lasers. Once again, color coded, red, green. So green goes to the 12 volt out, which is to give power to the lasers. And then red goes to the lasers. It's going to trigger probably. Yeah. So you can see down here on the sender red light, on the receiver green light. So that shows that it's aligned. When it's not aligned, the what is that? The receiver gets a red light. And the goal doesn't actually go off until the ball leaves the beam. So you can see, so when the beam is hit, that light on the receiver turns red. The goal's not going to go off until the ball leaves. It's just the way these lasers works a little funny. You could buy a piece so that you could buy another little board so that when it does break the laser, it goes off. But the only thing is I don't like putting another board into the box because it's going to make it a little bit hotter. But the one thing I do like about this is if you do have a toilet bowl shot, and like the ball sits there, it's spinning and spinning, and then once it leaves, it goes off. I think it's pretty cool. So, I mean, realistically, it doesn't make a big difference. If you're finding that that's something that's bothering you guys, I can send the board to put in there. But like I said, that board has like a big I don't even know what to call it. It's a big relay board. I just don't want to add more heat to the box because it's such a small little box as is. And then it's one more moving part to go wrong. So yeah. So when you're lining up the laser, but see, like, look, see how cockeyed it is, and it's still lined up. You know, same thing. It's cockeyed, still lined up. So the laser beams have a very broad like range to be connected. So like I said, you just, center them, plumb them when you're lining it up. So the thing I'm saying is when it comes to mounting them vertically, you might almost want to mount them like this, because I think you'll be able to... I'm unplugging this, hold on. There we go. I think mounting them like this will be better, because when you guys look up, I think you'll be able to see the beams better. Not the beams, but the indicator lights on them. You might be able to see them. That's a thing you guys are going to have to discuss and figure out. But either way, should be fine. It's just if you want to keep an eye on the indicator lights, because the one thing is if it's mounted and there's the one showing red, it's possible that these got dirty. I mean, we've had them up for now over a year and a half probably. I think I've had to clean one of the beams once, and ours are mounted like this. That's why I'm telling you to mount them vertically. That way if a big piece of dust falls or something, it's not going to stick and block a beam. So, I mean, it has happened with us, but like I said, ours are mounted horizontally, not vertically. So I think I would mount them this way, so you get a better vision of the indicators on the lasers. And then what I would do is just run it along the support, the way your supports come out, like like that. So you run this one along that support, and then run that one along that support, and then they'll come to a point when they connect back to the pipe. And then just zip tie them to that and run them down to the box. Yeah, so like I said, just make sure You mount that rubber washer in between this bracket and the back side of the backboard, and that's just to help with vibration, give you a little bit of space. Just when you're tightening it, be careful because that rubber washer does compact quite a bit. So the bolts that go on these lower ones are way shorter because otherwise they'll be into the connectors. So just be careful when you're tightening it, not to over tighten it and then be blocking where this connects. That's why I said make sure mount these, then connect these. This just zip tie around the backboard. I would as often as you could zip tie it, I would. I wouldn't drill any more extra holes into your backboard. I assume they're like yours, where every couple inches is a hole, and just zip tie it to that. And then same thing, don't zip tie it so the tubing's getting smashed. Just zip tie it so that the tubing's still round. To give you that cushion of space to protect it. Lasers, yeah. And this is what I was talking about with the dial. When the dial's connected, if you change it, I gotta plug the lasers back in. Hold on. When you change the dial, it'll trigger the goal, so you'll know what sound you're on as well without having to look at the sheet that's on the side. Boat horn. And then one other thing, like I said, is 2, I think I fixed for the most part. It was having trouble like where the dial wasn't contacting the contacts properly. And then 1 is also a little loose. So if you hit the dial hard enough, it might trigger it, but it'll be very obvious. So I don't think you'll have an issue with it. It's just one of those things. If you start getting false goals or no goals, just maybe switch the sound, and check to see if that, because like that one doesn't do it. If I go back to 1, it's just a cheap little dial I bought off Amazon. So, but I like I said, with where the box is, I don't think you'll have any issues with that. If someone hits the dial directly, it might happen. But even then, like they'd have to like dead on hit the dial. So I think it's more important to protect the wires than it is to protect the dial. All right, here's a crude mock-up of the lasers mounted on your backboard. So I would mount them on the outside of the arms that are connected to the backboard. The one on the left where the limit switch is, or your goal sensor, whatever you want to call it, I would just raise the laser so that the top of the housing is just like in line with that or right below that, because the actual laser beams don't start till like maybe like a half inch below that. So that should give you the clearance from the beam not being broken by that. And then just kind of, before you start mounting anything, kind of look at it and look at the black glass on the laser and just kind of look to make sure that it visually looks like you would have enough spread to cover the whole goal when the reducers are on or off. And it doesn't have to cover like like a beam doesn't need to be above the goal for it to go off. As long as that beam's within an inch of the top of the rim and a ball comes through, it's gonna get triggered. And then the other thing is too is you also want to check it with the reducers in and make sure the bolts from the reducers aren't breaking a beam. With those rubber spacers I gave you to mount on the backboard, that should stick the lasers far enough out where the bolts aren't going to be in the way. That's how we have it, and ours are vertical, and it does not catch a bolt at all. And ours are way closer to the bolts, but check it just to make sure. If it is catching it, you might have to move it up and down so it doesn't. You could cut the bolts a little bit smaller, or you move the lasers out a little bit more. But I think it should be fine just the way it is. We don't have an issue with it, so I don't think you guys should have an issue with it either. So it might take one or two of you guys to go up there and make sure the lasers are lined up so that it covers the goal without the reducer there. You might have a third person on the ground with like a broom or something as you guys are putting it up, and just don't have to have the box hooked up, but maybe giving power. Like I guess that would have maybe have the box hooked up and have it wired so you can see those indicator lights, and just making sure that the beam's not broken, the beam is broken, and seeing what you got to do to orient those properly. And then the only thing you guys will have to do for the netting, because the netting's far enough back where it looks like it shouldn't cross the laser just normally, but after it's hit, it might swing and cross the laser. So what I would do is I would attach two pieces of cord to each corner on the bottom of the net of like the what do you want to call it? The frame of the net, I guess. And I would tie it to the top of the arms where they like connect to the pole. And make it so that the lasers won't cross the beam at all. So after someone scores a goal and it comes swinging back, it's going to stop before the lasers. Or if someone hits the backboard hard enough, it's not going to swing and cross the lasers then. That should be the only thing you have to do. If you don't like the cord, you can make stoppers. You can either put stoppers, drill holes into the backboard and put some bolts with like rubber on the end to stop the frame of the net from swinging forward, or vice versa. Just drill two holes in the bottom of the net frame there, put a bolt with a rubber thing so that it swings into the backboard. But I think the cord would be the easiest and best option. It won't add any weight to your net. If you use like paracord or something, it should be strong enough to hold up. Maybe like a small chain even might be better. Like you can go to Ace or Home Depot or something and just get like one of those really light small chains, or like metal cabling. But yeah, that's the only thing is you just want to make sure that when the net swings back that it doesn't cross the beam. And then if you guys got any questions or anything, shoot me a message on Facebook, give me a call, FaceTime me, and I'll be able to help you guys make sure you guys get it all set up and working properly.